specific because
Yes.
you have a son with the age of 5, I'm mistaken.
Almost 4.
Almost 4.
Yes.
In no time, he will be 15 or 14.
No, it's still a long time.
So he will be in adolescence, but adolescence is a unique and formative time. So physical, emotional, and social changes, including exposure to poverty, abuse, or violence, can make adolescents vulnerable to mental health problems.
True. Now, protecting adolescents from adversity, promoting socio-emotional learning, and also psychological well-being, and ensuring access to mental health care are critical for their health and also well-being during adolescence and also adulthood.
Now, here in Indonesia, we have the Self-Love Warrior. So this is actually the first time I hear about this. A youth-led organization that empowers young people to love themselves and learn about mental health. Now, to know more about this matter, today we are connected to the Self-Love Warrior founder, Michelle Teh. Good morning from Indonesia and good afternoon there in Vancouver, Michelle.
Good morning.
Hi guys, how are you doing? Good morning.
Hi.
We're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Michelle.
And looking so green there.
So radiant.
Yeah, so radiant as well. So, but Michelle, as I said before, this is the first time I heard about Self-Love Warrior, but can you tell us a little bit more about this particular movement or organization?
Yeah, definitely. So the plans, reflect what we're doing. We're basically a youth-led organization that was started way back in 2018. And our main goal is just to raise awareness about mental health and self-love, specifically to young adults, so teenagers, people who are in high school, maybe like early years of university. And yeah, that's what we do. We mostly post content, create programs for them, and really try to talk about mental health in a way that's relatable and they can feel like they get it, like you're talking to someone who feels and understands your pain instead of like a very professional person who you might not be more vulnerable with. So yeah, that's a little bit about us.
That's nice. Now, Michelle, why do you think self-love and self-care is important?
What's the urgency?
Yes, okay. The urgency was actually when I started this when I was in high school, and I felt like the urgency was back then there was not really a lot of focus on mental health and self-love, and in fact around 50% of your mental health problem starts by the age of 14. And so when I was starting this, I felt 14 years old. And so when I was starting this, when I was 16, I felt like so frustrated because I really wanted to learn more about mental health and like self-love. But in Indonesia, I couldn't really find something that resonated with me. And that's sort of how I started it. I was like just really frustrated, honestly.
Okay, so this is very interesting because you just uttered the fact that mental health condition or mental health issue could actually start it from as early or as young as 14 years old. But also, I might have some number here. According to UNICEF, it is estimated that 1 in 7 or 14% of 10 to 19 years old experience mental health conditions. Now, what are the most common mental health problems, you might say, occurred in this period of age?
Yeah, I think the biggest one that I saw around me was insecurity. Like, you're always comparing yourself to someone else, and you're trying to fit in, and that's why our name is like Self-Love Warrior, right? Because I personally think that a lot of the mental health problems that you have like later in life, like you date a toxic person, you take a job that you don't like.
Oh, sounds familiar.
You don't,
Dating a toxic person, I mean, like, that happened in my junior high time.
Wow.
Exactly. Like, I was seeing so many common issues that my friends were going through, like people on the internet was going through, and I was like, if you just had more self-love and if you knew yourself better, like you could avoid all of this.
Yes. Now, I also want to know, Michelle, because we talk about self-love and self-care all the time, but what is exactly the first thing that you can do in order to take better care of yourself? Maybe you can give me some example that you do on your daily routine to really apply this self-love and self-care to your life.
Yeah, I think this is super interesting because culturally, back home in Indonesia, I think that you're conditioned to always want to be around other people. And when I go on Self Love Warrior, my first tip is always to learn how to be alone
How to be
without
alone.
feeling lonely. Without feeling lonely. So to give like concrete examples, I think back home I was super awkward. Like makan sendiri, it felt so weird. Like that are staring at you.
Yeah.
But in Vancouver, I think that's the biggest change that I've seen. Like if I
Oh,
go to the
that's
beach
nice.
alone, there's so many other people doing it alone. If
Yeah.
you can try a new cafe on your own. Like really trying to be comfortable in your own skin.
Oh my God.
Without ever feeling lonely. I think that's a really first step.
Totally agree. Totally agree,
It's
Michelle.
very good for you to be able to learn it in a very early age because I felt that in my 30s already. So I was like, okay, maybe I learned it a little bit too late. But
Late bloomer.
late bloomer. And also, you were also saying about the most common issue in teenagers or in that period of age is insecurities. But what is actually the main cause of the teens or young adults to experience this kind of problem? Mainly insecurities. Is it because of, being hyper connected or always online? Or is it because of the competitive environment? Because in this age of social media, people tend to see, things that they follow on social media or people that they follow on the social media with a certain persona. Is that also the main cause of it, in your opinion?
Yeah, so we actually ran a program called Self Love Goes to School, and then we actually talked a lot about this with like students. Why do you feel so insecure? And I think what you highlighted is really accurate. Number one, it's super competitive right now to be a young person. It seems like everyone's always doing a competition, always interning. And when we ran this program, I think what I found was people really need a good environment that makes them feel vulnerable enough to deal with their insecurities.
Safe
And
place.
I feel like this like a safe space. So that was what we were trying to provide like to our programs. We wanted to make it a safe space because oftentimes people would say like, oh, I'm so insecure, but my friends aren't helping. Like they're making me more insecure because they're also so competitive. And I think that's real. Like a short story, but when I moved abroad, I realized that even like what people post online is different. For example, when I went back to Indo during COVID, I was so stressed because I felt like someone's always doing something. Like there's like an online shop, they're starting a bakery. And when I moved back, it's like during COVID here, everyone's just like chilling. No one posts like when they're lomba, when they're interning, they just like live their lives. And so I find that that environment is super impactful to these young people, and that's why we want to make those safe spaces for them.
Again, reality check. Everything you see online is fragmented. It's fabricated. So what you see online is not real.
It's not real. It's an illusion, people.
Okay. Now, we also want to know, Michelle, to do this program that you were doing, do you also collaborate with other communities or organizations? If you're doing so, what kind of projects or initiatives you have done so far?
Yeah, so we are a team of 40 young adults based in Indonesia. And we always collaborate with mostly online pages and communities as well. So one of our biggest collaborations last year was we collaborated with around 7 schools to talk about self-love at their schools and like interact with the students. And we reached around 1,000 students through that program, specifically targeting schools that aren't like super aware about self-love, you know? Like if you're in an international school, maybe it's common, but like let's say you're in a desat, you don't even know what mental health is. So that was sort of our biggest collaborations last year. And we also like to make campaigns and challenges to encourage young people to do more self-love. I think we have like a series called Glow as We Grow.
Glow
And
as we
basically
grow.
challenge people to try, Glow as we grow.
Okay.
We challenge people to do things that make them uncomfortable but embrace themselves more.
Nice. I'm glowing now.
Yeah, I'm growing because I'm growing.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, I'm glowing because I'm growing. But aside of self-love goes to school, like you said before, if I'm mistaken, you also have some self-love boot camp. Is that true? So, can you tell us more
Yeah.
about the
So
self-love boot camp?
definitely. So our boot camp was basically we wanted to I mentioned that a lot of people faced insecurity, but they didn't have that environment. And so especially during COVID, there was so much FOMO between people. And so we basically made a program for around 6 weeks for the last 2 years where we get around 50 participants. And then every week there's like a reflection session. They meet other
Nice.
people who are trying to grow, and hopefully we like accelerate that growth because we believe that the people you surround yourself with is what helps you change. And so for that 6 weeks period, we try to teach them things, try to do like hands-on activities about self-love and mental health, and really just try to accelerate their growth to embrace themselves.
Oh my gosh. That's admirable what you're doing, Michelle. Now, also, I really want to know because many of us, we have our ups and downs in life. So if you have a friend that is maybe feeling down right now, what is the mantra that you will, you can give to them today in order for them to feel a little bit better about themselves? Do you have any sort of message that you try to convey to your friends every time they feel down?
Yeah, I think the biggest step everyone can take is before you try to help, I think it's important to ask what do they need. So at Self Love Warrior, we always ask like, what do you need right now when someone churhats to us? Do you need me to give you advice? Do you need a shoulder to cry on? Or do you just want to talk and I'll just like nod, Because on some days, I feel like people need different things. Like sometimes they need you to provide them solutions, but other times they just need you to feel like you're a friend to them, that they can lean on you and you're not judging them. So I feel like if you have a friend right now who's down, that's the first step that you can take. And then based on what they say, you can, calibrate your actions.
Okay.
I agree. Celebrate
Thank you.
small wins.
Celebrate small wins.
Michelle, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
sharing with us this morning. And also, we hope nothing but progress and also the best for Self of Warrior. And also, please do take care of yourself there in Vancouver.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a
Bye-bye.
great day.
You too,
Bye.
you too. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Wow. All right.
Hello. What do you think, Mom? I think I was pretty. Hey.
Hey,
I haven't done it in a while. I'm like super
congrats,
rusty.
bro. Congrats.
Thanks. Do you think I was pretty? I Yeah, I know. But it's okay. What do you think about all my plans? I took all my kids out. I was like so proud of my plans. Really? What did you watch me, Kai?
I love you. I'm